what would you guys say would be Rayman's most signature move? A lot of you would probably say is Boomerang Fist, which I think that would be really fair to say. But yeah, they did get rid of that in Rayman 2 and replaced it for rubber bullets, apparently, according to Rayman M. But yeah, personally, I think I would say his helicopter hair, where he's able to turn his hair into a helicopter, which allows him to hover for a little while. Now it got me thinking, like, what if Rayman never learned this ability, right? Would you still be able to beat the original Rayman game without using the helicopter hover at all? Well, today we're gonna find out. Can you beat Rayman 1 without using the helicopter hover? So first things first, let me just say that for this video I will be playing the NTSC PS1 version of Rayman, which is the definitive version of this game. At least I would say so. But yeah, some of the things that I'll be doing in this video might not work on other versions of this game. But yeah, let's get started. So what do we actually need to do to beat Rayman? So first of all, to beat this game, we need to free every single Electoon cage in the game, which unlocks the final level of the game. And then at the end of the final level, there's the final boss fight, and after you beat that, a little cutscene will play, and then the credits will roll, and this is what we would call beating the game. Alright, so with that all out of the way, some of you guys who have played this game might remember that for a first pretty big part of the game, you don't even have the helicopter ability at all. So obviously all of these levels are easily gonna be beatable without using the helicopter ability. So I won't go too much over these levels. One thing I will say, however, is that there's a couple of cages which are meant to be taken on a revisit. Like there's abilities which you don't have yet, and then you need to revisit these levels as soon as you obtain those abilities to get those cages. Now there's nothing really too special about it, except for this one cage on Bongo Hills, which is meant to be a revisit cage, and it's meant to be a revisit after you obtain the helicopter ability. Now as you can see, it is actually impossible to get to this cage without using helicopter. At least it would be, if it wasn't for a little trick called speed locking. Now speed locking is actually pretty simple. All you need to do is hold up, and for some reason it locks your momentum, allowing you to get pretty great speeds. And this honestly makes rings in this game so much more fun to play with and stuff. But yeah, as you can see, we can get some good speed from this, and we're actually able to reach this cage without using helicopter, you know, and we don't actually have to do a revisit of Bongo Hills, which is already fortunate as this, since Bongo Hills is one of the longest levels in the game. Alright, so we're about to enter the Batilla screen, where we are going to get the helicopter ability, and so far we got every single cage in the game which we were able to get on one run through without revisiting levels, you know. And we're getting the ability, and this is where the big question starts. Can we beat Rayman 1 without using helicopter at all? Now the short answer to that question is no, you cannot. Yes, the level that is supposed to act as a tutorial on how to use the helicopter is in fact not beatable without using the helicopter. So I guess the devs did a good job there. Now, for the purpose of this video, let's just pretend that Batilla screens don't exist. Because again, essentially what it is just a tutorial level that is supposed to teach you how to use your new power. So let's pretend these tutorial levels don't exist and see how far we can get into the actual game without using helicopter. Alright, so we're entering Twilight Gulch, our first level, which we are gonna play with our new helicopter ability. Well, actually without our new helicopter ability. But yeah, we're immediately gonna run into a big problem here. Well, hang on. First we're gonna go down, get these couple of cages, which is all pretty easy to do without helicopter. Then, once we're back up, you'll see that it will be impossible for us to progress because we're not able to reach the ring without using helicopter. Uh-oh. Well, there's actually a solution to this problem, and the solution is called a super jump, which is arguably the hardest trick in this game. But yeah, essentially what we want to do is right where a diagonal platform meets a horizontal platform, we want to press down, which is a frame and pixel perfect input. Then from there we can do a pause buffer, making it a little bit easier for us. But yeah, from there you want to do another frame perfect input. This time press up, and if done correctly, Rayman will fly up into the air and he'll be able to reach the ring. Alright, so we got that. Next, there is a cage down here, which we can just take, and it's all very easy. But then after that, there's another cage all the way up to the top. And you might be asking yourself, how are we gonna reach this cage? Well, first of all, you're actually required to have the run ability, which we don't have yet. And then you need to combine that with a helicopter, and then you can only barely reach it. Like, trust me, if you want to beat this game, this cage is an absolute nightmare. Even speedrunners still struggle with it a lot. So how are we gonna do it now, especially that we don't have run yet? Well, we're actually gonna use the same solution. We're gonna do another super jump right here, which very convenient. But yeah, it allows us again to do the frame perfect inputs, and then whoop, we fly up into the air, get the cage. Then there's one more cage we can just easily take, and then we can finish this screen and make it to the next one. So on the next screen, it's actually all pretty easy. You don't have to collect any more cages on the screen, and we can make it through the screen pretty easily until you're about at the end, where we're gonna run into another problem. See, first of all, we're down here, there's all these rocks, we need to punch them out of the way, then we can spawn a cloud. Now, then the game expects you to do a pretty stupid jump, which you can only do if you have helicopter. And then even then you can barely only reach it again. So we're not going to be able to do this jump. However, there is another solution again. So if we go back a little bit, and then we can actually use Mr. Stone and take a hit from him, which gives us a lot of momentum. Now if we speed lock that momentum, we can make it all the way over the spikes, and then we can finish the screen. So that's our first level complete. Let's go. So the next level is Hard Rocks, which Hard Rocks isn't actually that hard. No pun intended. But yeah, there's actually nothing that gives me a lot of trouble here. Some parts might be a little bit tricky, but yeah, overall everything is very much possible to do without using helicopter. So there's nothing much I have to say about this level. Let's actually move on to the next one. Oh boy, I'm sure some of you guys saw this one coming. Alright, no, the only thing I can say, I guess, is look guys, Rayman's hair is all purple now. It's no more yellow. This is not helicopter, it's super helicopter, dude. It's totally different. No, but seriously, the next level is Mr. Stone Speaks, which the first screen is a super helicopter screen. And yeah, you are absolutely required to use the super helicopter to be able to beat the screen. The thing is, the game does class the super helicopter as like a different power up than the normal helicopter, and it actually takes away your normal helicopter ability and replaces it temporarily for the super helicopter ability. So again, for this video, I'm just gonna run with that and say it's something totally different, and we're actually allowed to use the super helicopter. If you don't agree with me, I'm sorry, but yeah, that's the only way we can progress in the game now. So after beating that first screen, we're gonna make it to the next one, and this is the cutting rope screen, which, well, you guessed it, it's another super helicopter screen. And the same goes for this one. We need to use the super helicopter to beat the screen, so that's what we're doing. Alright, so on this screen things finally return to normal again. And this is also a pretty interesting screen because it has this one cage, which we need to go to the left for. So we grab the cage, and after grabbing the cage we need to go to the right, and ooh, this jump is impossible to make without helicopter. Uh-oh. So what's the plan here? The plan is actually to just kill ourselves, literally, and then do the same section over again. However, this time we're gonna make sure not to go too fast and make this cloud not despawn. The cloud is actually gonna go up, and if we're not too fast, we can catch that cloud and it will bring us up to the next part of the level. So that's awesome. Almost thought that we wouldn't be able to progress, but in this way we actually can. So that's the end of this screen. The next screen is very easy. We can pretty much do everything without problems, without helicopter, except for this one little tricky section right here, but other than that it's all good. And then we make it to the boss fight. Boss fight, again, not too hard. It involves a little bit of precise jumping, but it's actually very much possible to beat this boss fight without using helicopter. I think anyone could do it. And then we're thrown into our next Bandland screen where we get the run ability. Now you might have guessed it, and yeah, you are again absolutely required to use helicopter here, both run and helicopter, to be able to make this jump. So again, no way around it. We're again just still gonna have to pretend Bandland screens don't exist. Next level we're actually going back and we're finishing up the last 2 levels in Bandland, which we didn't do yet. So first is Gong Heights, and then for Gong Heights it is actually a really tricky screen to do without helicopter, but it is all possible. There's a couple of really precise jumps, but yeah, if you can do it, you can do it, you know. As well as the second screen actually. This one is an auto scroller, also some really tricky parts here. Like, I underestimated how hard this would be without helicopter, but it is pretty hard. But yeah, you can do it. It's possible. Everything here is possible. So let's move on to Sax. Mr. Sax's Hula Baloo is the next level, and this first screen here is actually really easy. All 6 cages are on the screen, but yeah, we can just take all the cages very easily without using helicopter and finish this screen basically. Now, a lot of you guys who have been keeping up with the speed run probably know that if you def abuse right here, you can exit out of the back sign and you don't actually have to fight the boss. You just need to collect all the cages on the screen. But however, I wanted to make sure that it is actually possible to beat the boss without using helicopter. And yes, it is in fact possible to beat the boss. So we wouldn't have had to beat the boss, but I wanted to make sure anyways that it would be possible. And it is very easily possible to beat the boss without using helicopter at all. So next up is actually some revisits. Now that I have all the abilities in the game, I'm going back for the revisits to get the remaining cages that I didn't get yet, that I couldn't get to yet. But yeah, all of them are really easily able to get without using helicopter, so that's nice. And then we can just move on to Eraser Plains after we got all of them. So first screen of Eraser Plains. My god, this is a hard screen to do without helicopter. Jesus Christ, probably the hardest one to do, maybe? Not sure about that. But yeah, one of the hardest ones for sure. But everything is possible. Everything here is possible. It just took me a while to do it without helicopter. It's actually, yeah, like I said, it's really hard. But yeah, first screen complete. So the second screen of Eraser Plains is actually really easy. Like everything, again, we can get all of them without all the cages, without using helicopter and make it to the end sign, and it's actually a super easy screen. This one always has been. Okay, so then there's the third screen, which the third screen gets a bit more tricky. So to get this first cage, you need to be small Rayman. Although speedrunners will probably know that you don't actually need to be small Rayman to get this first cage. However, I want to make sure that it would be possible to do it the legit way. So I went as small Rayman, got this first cage. So now that's all possible. However, then there's this next section and there's actually a jump, which is actually impossible to do as small Rayman without using helicopter. Apparently, if you do a speed lock while jumping as small Rayman, sometimes you get a little boost in speed, and this actually allows us to do this jump. So there you go, it is possible to do this the legit way, even though there's still another way to get that cage as Big Rayman as well. But yeah, there you go. So then we make it through the whole screen. There's a really precise damage boost we need to do here as Big Rayman. We need to get through here, but we can't use helicopter to go under the spike, so we need to basically do a really precise damage boost. Then we can, as Big Rayman, we can spawn a cage, then get the cage, and then we can go back and then become small Rayman, go through it again. We need to be small Rayman to progress. And then I thought I was gonna make it, but then it turns out there is this part right here where you need to do a jump, and in the middle of the jump you're gonna become Big Rayman again. but it's impossible to do without helicopter. And I tried a lot of stuff, dude. This took me a long time. I tried a lot of stuff. I tried speed locking again and everything, but I couldn't get it to work. So I was actually thinking like, rip, dude, this is actually impossible, until I randomly found out you can do this. So with a little fist boost right there, and then for some reason you get a lot of speed somehow. I don't know exactly how it works, but yeah, I actually managed to do it this way. So I was really happy that this worked, dude, because it took me a long time and I was sad, the fact that I thought it wasn't gonna be possible right here. But man, was I happy to find out that it actually is possible. So after that we can finish the screen pretty easily. And yeah, it actually continues. We're still 0 helicopters in so far. Okay, so next there's the Viking Mama boss fight, which honestly, there's not anything to say about this one. It's very easy to do this one without helicopter. If you can do this boss fight, you can do it without helicopter, basically. It's that simple. So we move on to Pentathlon, where the first screen there's a cage to the right. But yeah, we get this cage, this first cage, and then after that we cannot make the jump back. It's actually impossible to make the jump back. So we just death abuse and we make it back to the spawn. Alright, so then we move on through the screen. Everything's pretty easy, except right here where we cannot make this jump onto the pen. But then we have to just go down and do this little tricky section of the rings. And when we make it past that, we can pretty much progress until the end of the screen, where we have to do one like tricky big jump right here. But if done correctly, it should look something like this, and you can make it all the way to the end sign without using helicopter. Okay, so second screen of Pentathlon. This is our final super helicopter screen. So yeah, another one of those. This is our last one. But yeah, there's no way around it. We have to use the super helicopter here, and we're just gonna have to finish the screen, which obviously isn't gonna be that hard to do. Alright, so the third screen, this is where things get pretty interesting. So right at the start we have all the bouncy shit, so we need to get down to this cage, which is already like hard enough as it is, dude, but try to do it without using helicopter, Jesus Christ. But yeah, I found a way, and I think this is pretty much the only way to do it. But you need to do right at the start, you need to make this jump and keep holding jump while doing this jump, and then while you're hanging right here, you want to press down and still holding jump, which gives you just enough height to actually fall down in the pit and not touch any bouncy platforms. So then you can get to this cage and move on. Now a little bit later there's another cage which you need to like go back for a little bit up on like the pencils, and there's this jump right here, which is not possible without helicopter. So I was like, shit. And it took me a little while here, but I found a solution, guys. It definitely took me a while. I was like, how are we doing this? I even like started to look at like maybe there's a way to super jump again or something, but no, that wasn't gonna work. But I found something. As it turns out, there's this thing called speed storage. And oh god, now I need to explain speed storage. Now the best way for me to explain speed storage and for it to hopefully make sense is to explain what actually happens behind the game in the game's code. So what happens is there's this variable in the game which for some reason stores Rayman's last rolling speed. Now rolling speed is what happens if Rayman makes like a jump and he has a certain amount of speed, he starts rolling in the air. Now when he lands on the ground, for some reason that speed that you had during your rolling animation gets stored in this variable. Now why this happens? No idea. I don't know if people know why this happens, but I certainly don't. So yeah, for some reason the game stores that speed. Now what's even more bizarre is what you can do with that speed. Now there's two types of platforms in Rayman. You have the normal like ground tiles, which is basically everything you can stand on, can be slippery, can be like solid, like non-slippery tiles. And then there's also events, which are like platforms, which the best way to recognize events, they often like can move, or they have like an animation or whatever. Yeah, they have a sprite, you know. Those are the events. Now, when you're on an event and you run off of the event, for some reason the game replaces Rayman speed with whatever amount of speed you had stored in that little variable that stores Rayman's last rolling speed. So you can actually manipulate this and like run off of the event, but like from the very edge do a jump, and then you get like this jump and you have like insane amounts of speed, or at least you can have insane amounts of speed if you have a lot of speed stored in there. Okay, so it's probably pretty hard to follow everything I'm explaining right now. But yeah, it should look something like this. So we're setting up the speed right here. It has a little like downward slope, which we can gain some speed from. Then we do this jump and then we land and we have that speed stored. Now, if we make it up to the pencils, and the pencils are actually events. So we want to run off the pencil and from the very edge do a jump. And then we get a jump like this. This is a speed storage jump. And there you go, we made the jump, and now we can actually get to that cage. Let's go. So after that we can just finish the screen, and there's nothing else that is really hard. We got all the cages in the screen, and that's Pencil Pentathlon for you. So the next level is Space Mama's Crater, which at the start of this level it requires us to do a little damage boost right here. We can't use helicopter to make it over the pin, so we have to damage on the pin, and then we can just grab the ledge while in iframes. So we progress through the screen, and then right here we are required to do a damage boost, because otherwise we wouldn't be able to make this jump without helicopter. And then we can move on, but then right here we need to do another damage boost. However, there's actually another way, because I don't have a lot of health right now, so I chose to do a quick super jump right here, which this super jump is actually not that hard to do. You just do one frame perfect input right when you hit the bouncy platform, and you should like fly up all the way right here, which there's a gap. It's really convenient. We can grab the ledge and move on. Then there's this next cage, which can be a little bit tricky without helicopter, but it's not too bad. And after that we can just make it to the end sign. Next screen is a little bit hard to do without helicopter, but everything here is possible. It's not too bad. We can make everything. There's nothing that requires us to use helicopter, and we can make it to the next screen. On the next screen right here at the start, there's actually a little cheese you can do. You can just make this jump right here, and you don't have to do the whole section to the left. The section to the left is actually possible to do without helicopter. It's a little tricky, but yeah, I chose to just skip it because why not? Then we can move on, grab the cage. Well, this is all not that hard to do without helicopter. Then this section, like right here on the sharpener, pretty difficult, some pretty precise jumps, but you can do it, it's not that bad. Grab the last cage and make it to the end sign. Okay, so Space Mama boss fight. It's a pretty hard boss fight, but not being able to use helicopter doesn't make it that much harder. So yeah, there's this one section with the washing machine, which can be a bit tricky, but still, like, everything here is pretty easy. We're easily able to beat this boss without using helicopter, you know. Then there's Crystal Palace, which the first screen is definitely pretty hard to do without helicopter, but again, everything here is possible. It took me a while, I'm gonna be honest. I'm not gonna lie, this screen is tricky for sure. But yeah, you can do everything here, everything is possible. Some precise jumps here and there, but yeah, you can make it to the end sign. No helicopters were used. And then there's the second screen, which the second screen, again, like, you can do everything without using helicopter. It's a pretty tricky screen to do, but it's not that bad. You can easily beat the screen without using helicopter as well, so that's CP. Next level is Eda Joe's. First screen is the dark screen. Really simple screen, no helicopters required at all. Pretty freaking easy to beat this one without helicopter. Then there's the second one. This one, like at the start, also like pretty easy. And then we move on to this part right here where, oh no, this is not what I expected. Of all things, this jump right here is freaking impossible, guys. Oh no. So I was messing around on this screen for a long time, trying to figure out, trying to just jump it. Can I jump it? No, it's impossible. But then I actually noticed the red platform to the left, which is an event. And I was thinking, maybe maybe if we can get speed storage somehow, then maybe we can make this jump from the red platform with a lot of speed, you know. So first I tried to set up speed storage on the ring, but it was a way too tight area to get good speed from it. And then I decided to actually go back, because I wasn't giving up on this yet, and it took me a long time. But yeah, I went all the way back. I actually went to Bongo Hills, because Bongo Hills is a pretty nice spot to set up speed storage. You get this like ramp right here, and then you get like some nice speed. You do a jump and then you have it. And I tested out the speed storage in Mosquito's Nest, which is a good place to test it out from right here. I was happy with the speed that I had, and then I had to do all of Eda Joe's again, or at least the first and half of the second screen again. But this time, which I didn't even mention yet, but yeah, if you want to keep speed storage, you have to, first of all, you cannot do running jumps, because if you do a running jump you get a rolling animation and your speed gets reset. Or at least it stores the speed that you have during your rolling animation, so you basically get running speed stored in there. And then also you cannot hit walls. If you hit a wall, your speed storage also resets. So I had to do all of Eda Joe's without touching a wall and without doing a running jump, which is harder than it sounds, trust me. It is harder than it sounds. But yeah, I finally made it. And oh my god, it is actually possible. It worked. Damn, was I happy to find out that this would actually work, dude. Because this took me a pretty long time and I thought it was not gonna be possible, but it actually worked, so let's go. Alright, so after that we go up, we do the rings, which the rings, this is another like stupid jump in the game which casuals are gonna struggle with a lot. Even also, again, speedrunners also struggle with this one, but yeah, this is the way to do it without helicopters required. Then we get that cage and we can move on. We can go all the way down. We don't have to use any more helicopters. We get the last cage and finish the screen. Now, next screen is like pretty simple. The only thing was I had like not a lot of health, which makes this one a little bit tricky. But yeah, I didn't really need any helicopters here at all, so we were just able to finish the screen. Then the next one is like an auto platform moving screen, so you didn't really have to do a lot at all on the screen, just stand still on a moving platform. That's what this screen is all about. So no helicopters were required here as well. And then there's the last screen of Eda Joe's, which everyone probably knows that this is a hard screen. But now try to do it without using helicopter, dude. It gets so much harder. This is probably the hardest one to do without using helicopter, my god. But yeah, eventually I managed to do it. It's possible to do without helicopter as well. So yeah, there you go. That's Eda Joe's complete. So we're entering Scops and we're actually getting close, dude. Only 2 more levels to go. So at the start of Scops, to my surprise, it's actually possible to get this first cage to the right without dying if you do it in the exact way that I do it here. It's like the most precise jump I've ever done in this game, dude. But if you don't make it, you can also just death abuse, and that works too, as long as you just get the cage. But yeah, that's basically the only like little bit tricky thing, I guess, about this screen. The rest is pretty simple. I mean, requires a little bit of precise jumps here and there, but it's not too bad. Everything is possible here as well. So we make it to the end sign, get to the Scops fight. Now on the Scops fight, all you want to just make sure you do your jumps correctly when he throws his claw at you. Like, you want to jump over the claw and don't use helicopter for it. So it requires pretty precise jump, but it's not too bad. Everything here, chase screen as well as the boss fight itself, really easy to do without helicopter. So, oh my god, we're entering the last level and we still haven't used a single helicopter, dude. Let's go. Alright, so pan screen. Pan screen, obviously, we're gonna be able to do pan screen without using helicopter, because you cannot use helicopter on this screen. Alright, so we make it to the next screen, which is the Dark Rayman screen. Now, first I was actually thinking, like, in case you don't know, you can despawn Dark Rayman, and I was thinking about doing that because it would make it a little bit easier for me. Except that to despawn Dark Rayman you actually need to use a helicopter, so rip that, I guess. So we couldn't despawn Dark Rayman, but whatever, right? Let's just play the screen with Dark Rayman chasing us. So pretty much all of the screen is easy, right? And at this point I was happy. I was like, hell yeah, we're making it, let's go. We're in the final level, we're almost there. We're gonna do it. And then Oh fuck. Oh fuck. Oh no. This jump right here, was the last thing that I was expecting, but yeah, apparently it's completely impossible to make this jump without helicopter. Uh-oh. So I was trying for a long time to just get this jump, dude. Just get the hang, Rayman, but nope. He didn't. It was so close, right? You get so close, but no, Rayman never ended up getting a hang from it. And so I was like, fuck, did I go through all of this for nothing? And then I started to think like, there is actually a cloud to the left. Maybe if I can get like a lot of speed storage, it's probably not gonna work. I don't think so. It looks like way too far away for this to work. So first I tried setting up speed storage in Bongo Hills again. Got a lot of speed. I was thinking like maybe we can do it, but then again, I'm not sure if that's gonna work at all because you have pan screen and you might lose speed storage on pan screen. I don't know how that works. I wasn't sure, but then on the next screen, on the Dark Rayman screen again, there's this like wall and you need to jump up the wall and get the hang, but yeah, you touch the wall, right? So you lose speed storage. So I'm pretty sure it's like impossible to get past that and keeping your speed storage. So the only thing that I could still do was trying to set up speed storage on like this ring right here. So I tried to do that, tried to get as much speed as I possibly could. And as you can see here, I got some nice speed and I was thinking maybe, and no, not at all. So guys, unfortunately enough, I have to announce that no, it is not possible to beat Rayman 1 without using helicopter. If it wasn't for a trick called the easy jump, that is. So yeah, last minute I realized that there's actually a trick you can do, which requires a frame perfect jump on the exact frame that you land on like a tile, like normal ground tiles. And when you do a frame perfect jump right there, you're actually able to jump from it and keep the momentum that you have. So combining that with speed storage, and we're actually able to get this jump, and oh my god, we actually made this. Now this took me a long time, probably the longest to figure out of all of them. And was I happy to figure this one out, dude, Jesus. So we actually did it. And now there's not much standing in the way. So from here I was confident, dude. I was confident that we were gonna make it. Next screen. And then this is the screen with the reverse controls. Now this screen isn't that hard to, like, the screen has reverse controls, so to make up for the reverse controls, the screen itself, the platforming isn't all that hard, so very easy to do it here without using helicopter. Basically we were able to make it through the screen, and the last section of the screen is actually an auto run segment, which it takes away your helicopter, so obviously you're able to beat it without using helicopter. Then we make it to the end sign, and then we are thrown into the Mr. Dark fight. So I was already 100% sure that we were gonna be able to beat the Mr. Dark fight without using helicopter, and we freaking did. So there you go, guys, that is all of Rayman. And so to answer your question, can we beat Rayman 1 without using the helicopter hover? Well, technically no. But if you're willing to pretend that Batilla screens don't exist, then yes, I actually managed to do it. With the help of a lot of save states, that is. But we did it, dude. So yeah, took me a really long time to make this video, guys. So if you would all be so kind to maybe drop a like on this video, I might consider doing more stuff like this in the future if you guys like it. But yeah, with all that being said, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video, guys.